If I want to work with the biblical terms rendering tool, I go to the File menu and I select Open Biblical Terms Renderings. Now I'm going to move this so it's beside my translation. And if I'm going to keep working this way, I may want to save this arrangement of windows as another save text combination. What the Biblical Terms Rendering tool does is, for the current verse, it shows me the biblical terms present. And if we've agreed on ways to spell them in our language, the rendering can appear here. And if we translate a verse that also has that term, the Biblical Terms Rendering tool will remind us what the term was that we decided on. So here in verse 8, there's Bethlehem. If I go up to verse 5, there's Bethlehem again. Okay, so how do I add words to the Biblical Terms Rendering? I can just select a word and then click and drag it over into the Biblical Terms Rendering. And when I do that, now this check mark here saying found appears in the Biblical Terms Rendering. This shows me that that word for Bethlehem is found in the text. Here at verse 6, it's also found, also at verse 8. Another thing I can do from the Biblical Terms Renderings is, if I double click on the term, that brings it up in the Biblical Terms tool, which has some additional place for information. For instance, I can put notes here to explain why we've chosen this particular term. So I'll say that it's church tradition that explains why we say Ethlehem Bay in our language.